Hello, everybody. Welcome to In Need of Attention. My name is Jairus Matthew Copeland. I'm here with a special guest today, a friend of mine who I have been in similar circles and probably divinely dodging for a while now. But her name is Rebecca Shakespeare Armstrong.
Yes.
If I said that wrong, it'd be
You
very
said it
awkward.
right.
But hello, it's good to see you.
Hello, good to see you too. You better divinely dodge me.
Yeah, I
Which
did.
is hilarious.
I did, yeah. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
A little bit of background for other people. I used to be a model a long time ago. I'm retired now.
He's gonna come back next year.
No, I'm not. Unless it's for a very steep price. But you were like designing clothes and doing
Yeah.
stuff, so you might see me here or that sort of thing, this and that. At the top of this year, I was speaking at I like to call it underground because it sounds cooler, but like an underground, like spiritual gathering type thing. You met my wife, you like sat next to her. You were like the only person participating from the crowd, which I really appreciate.
I was not. I was
really
not the only.
appreciate.
I was not only.
I'm like, someone's listening. This is
And you were
a
ministering.
good thing. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And so we connected after that, and then we were at this most recent event. I think it was probably about a little over a month ago now.
Yeah.
And you were there, and I just felt like really led, and like I was supposed to just invite you on and talk to you. I had no clue what we were supposed to talk about, like I was telling you before, but I think it's gonna be good. So
Yeah.
thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
For the people listening, what's like some helpful kind of context for who you are, what you are, how you view yourself, that sort of thing, as we get into the conversation.
Yes. So my name is Rebecca Shakespeare. I am from Cincinnati, Ohio. My parents are phenomenal. They're Jamaican, so they relocated here before they had myself and my siblings. I am a mom. I'm a wife. I am an artist, fashion designer, and not just those things. I love to be creative in general. I like to show through my artwork and fashion how I feel about my faith, my heritage, as well as my love for the 80s and 90s. So I'm not a 2000s baby, but, I can rock with them.
I was born in 98.
Okay, so you almost didn't make it.
Well, so people try to tell me that I shouldn't count.
Oh, I think you can.
And I'm like, well, you can't count because it's 98. It's the 90s. So
Exactly.
What you say, that just piqued my interest. What do you love about the 80s and 90s so much?
The 80s and 90s, I think the type of music, the tone, those time frames were really big for creativity, color, especially with like techno music, and then the introduction of like hip hop, and not even just hip hop, like just being very creative on multiple spectrums. So people were more expressive with their clothing, their music, their hair color, how they just express themselves in artistry. I really just love, especially in movies too. So I love a lot of like quirky movies, like Back to the Future. I have all of them on DVD. Like, yes, I still have a DVD player.
I'll say you still got DVDs.
Yes, I'm that I'm that type of old school person. When it's like, okay, if I know this might be $2,000 one day,
Right.
I don't mind keeping it.
Right.
So I love Indiana Jones. I grew up on Bebe's Kids. I like all the old school stuff. So
you're like $2,000 or Beanie Babies, and it's not worth
Exactly.
anything. You're like, go flip through the book and pick a movie. We'll watch it.
But I don't. So the interesting thing, we don't have everything, and then I like for my kids to know a bit of my husband's history because he loves the 80s and 90s too.
For sure.
Like when we started dating, he had a box haircut. Like he literally looked like Kid and Play.
The
whole
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
And when we met, we were like, oh, like he liked the way I dressed, I liked the way he dressed, but we didn't necessarily like each other. We just thought we were like so dope. Like, oh, I love the way he dresses, and he was over the campus ministry at the time, and I was over gospel choir at my campus. And then one of my old friends, she went to his campus, so I used to ask him, like, can you check her? Can you make sure she's alive? Like, please text me. She's not going to text me back, like being a big sister.
Yeah.
So that led to one thing. Led to another thing, and then he asked me out, like, hey, do you want to hang out the next time you come up here and check on her? So we started talking, hanging out, found out we loved the same TV shows,
Right.
so like My Wife and Kids,
Right.
which is more 2000.
Okay, so I'm so sorry to interrupt your
No,
story.
it's okay.
So my wife,
She loves my wife and kids?
Well, no. So
Okay.
Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah, given her name even, is white. Okay, so we were talking. So my dad, I watch every sitcom, like every single, like name I watch, like every single one.
So you watch the Different Strokes?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Do you know what Hogan's Heroes is?
No.
Exactly. It's like 50s, 60s.
Okay.
It's like not even funny.
Okay.
But Gilligan's Island.
Okay, yeah.
Frasier, Seinfeld.
Yes.
According to Jim, Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yes.
Martin.
Okay.
Every single one. I've seen them all. Okay. And we grew up watching I love My Wife and Kids. And so we're flipping through Netflix. There's nothing to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we go watch My Wife and Kids. She goes, what is that? I'm like,
yeah.
Are you being serious?
It's such a good show.
It's such a good show. We clicked on it. She's like, I've never seen this. And I was like, what a cultural difference.
Yeah.
I grew up doing this. She didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And we watched like one episode. I think the whole premise of the episode was like Michael was trying to like spend the day like naked at home or something. And she's like, what are we watching? I'm like, it's just like, that's what was funny. Like, it was just.
And the interesting thing about Michael's character, he was an entrepreneur too. So he always kind of just wanted an off day and he never really had one.
Right.
And then he had to cope with also getting older.
Exactly.
So the episode where he was talking about his hair loss. He took that medication. So like, I grew up watching, so my dad and my mom, so we didn't have cable. So we watched everything, not everything, because they were very mindful of some of the stuff we were supposed to. But if it was a little like too action packed, then they watch it with us. So like, NYPD Blue, we watched as a family.
Oh yeah.
Martin was hit or miss because sometimes you didn't know if like cable shows would come on regular TV.
Yeah.
But we grew up with like Moesha. We grew up with Tim the Tool Man, Home Improvement. Because I was like, why did we never see the neighbor? Like,
literally.
We grew up with all the things.
Yeah.
What else did we watch that? Oh, Xena, Hercules. We had WB. So WB was like cable for us.
The WB.
And then Saturday morning.
Right.
One Saturday morning, and then after that, they had those random like old school movies that used to come on. So that's when I was like, okay, it will be a random like documentary.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, this just got a test for randomly crying. Like this was so, like, oh my gosh. So that's what I miss about like not having streaming services too, because you kind of had to wait for something to come on.
Sure.
Or wait to start something else.
Right.
So like when I introduced DVDs to my kids or our kids, it was so funny because they were like, it's not playing anymore. And I'm like, yeah, stop.
It's over. Yeah.
So like it helps them take breaks. It helps them evaluate like, well, what do I actually want to watch now that this movie's over? Or they might not even watch a movie.
Yeah.
They might be like, oh, why don't we start a series? So that's one thing that me and my daughter, and I feel like I'm rambling, but one thing that me and my daughter started to do, because I wanted to introduce her to some of the stuff that I grew up with. So we started watching Sister together. We would watch only like 2 episodes, and this would be like summertime. So we would try to watch 2 episodes a day, and then we'll talk about the episode.
Sure.
So what did you learn? Like, what did you not like? Which character's your favorite? And she's young, but at the same time, she's kind of like old soul like me. So to see her be like, yeah, Roger's crazy. Or I love that they're still his friend. And so like it helped with like old school shows too. Also talked about more like bullying or uncomfortable conversations.
For sure, yeah.
Like they will let the parents know like, hey, this episode's very sensitive. You should watch it with your like. I miss that stuff because some stuff is like it helped have
conversations. Or it would start it at the very least.
Exactly.
For sure.
Like this episode's about drugs. This episode's about human sex trafficking. Like
right, seriously.
So like okay, good.
Right, Disney Channel.
Right.
Yeah.
Like wait a minute.
You're right.
So yeah, that's how much I love the 80s and 90s. But I haven't allowed it to make me feel like I don't want to grow up. You know what I mean? Like I don't miss it so much to the point where it's like, man, I miss being a kid. Like, I miss it, but I also don't want to, like, accidentally project that on other people.
Sure.
Like, oh, I never want to grow older. Like, I love my 30s now.
Sure.
Like, because one day I wanted to be in it.
Yeah.
I don't like the responsibility.
Right.
But I appreciate it for sure.
For sure. So, I mean, that perfectly segues kind of into some of the questions I have for you, even just around, you're an artist now. You and your husband are both artists. You make clothes, other pieces. We were kind of talking about that before we got started. And a lot of that influence or foundation is not just kind of where you come from and everything, but what you've kind of been through. And so the show being centered kind of around tension and kind of how we sit in the middle of that sort of thing, right? So the idea being that for the person who feels like, this is just kind of my lot in life, right?
Yeah.
Like these things have happened to me. This is the experience I have. That just is what it is. Kind of the foundation of the podcast is we believe that there's more for that person.
Yeah.
They can actually experience more. And for the person who goes through life and they experience things and they start to learn about their family tree and their genetics and kind of what they're just kind of predisposed to, right? And they're going, this is just who I am. I can't change. It's just my dad was this, my mom was this, I'm that. This is just who I am. Part of the foundation is that we believe they can be better. That they can actually get better as a person in their life, right? So there's more, there's better. And from that place, I like to say I am stubborn in my belief that there's more perspective to gain, right? The idea that I don't actually know, and that to be a human is to be uncertain.
Yeah.
And the more I embrace that, the better time I might have just when it comes to anxiety control and different things. And so I say this to every guest as we get into the conversation is this conversation will be as good as the two of us are willing to make it.
Okay.
And the way we're vulnerable and the way we kind of lean into those things and stuff like that.
Okay.
So thank you for being here. Thanks for the context of that. When it comes to you now, right? So you're a mom, you're an artist, you're this entrepreneur, business owner. You talked about your faith and some like leadership you want to have in that way. How do you maybe balance? How do you maybe manage the kind of tension between those things and the responsibilities that they kind of bring for you?
Honestly, I bumped the mic.
All good.
Sorry.
All good.
Okay, sorry. I would say that there has not been too many ways because by me loving like being creative or being proactive in creativity for such a long time, it was nothing except my faith. I do profess Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. So when I pray, like I've seen myself like pray and then get back to doing things as though I didn't need time to sit and reset. So when I pray or when I like sit down, I'm like actually sit down.
Right.
You know, try not to multitask because when you're creative, sometimes you like ultraviolet multitask.
Every
it's
direction.
like, I can brush my teeth and tap dance. It's like,
no,
it's not.
You could.
You could, but it's like, is it dangerous?
Then you gotta clean your shirt.
And then you might fall.
Right.
But so like after I had kids with my husband, I learned how to really slow down. Because at first I'm like, man, how can I do entrepreneurship? How can I pursue these things that I feel like God laid on my heart to do if I am also needing to be a nurturer? And I've always been a nurturer anyway, but like the Lord really taught me how to nurture my kids, and then it showed me how to nurture myself. And then it also showed me how to nurture my husband, because there will be times where it's like we can't afford to have childcare and both of us working. Like the check would go to childcare. And we had our kids back to back. So we didn't know our son came out of the sky. So when my daughter was 10 months, I found out I was 3 months pregnant. So we call them Irish twins.
Yeah.
So it was like, whoa, like how can I handle this as a mom and a wife? Because I want to make sure I'm showing up for my husband. During that time, it was very a lot of tension, honestly. But it didn't subside until I really started to bring everything back to God, like everything back to my faith. Because I was literally doing all the things. I started influencing after I had kids. I didn't start painting again until I went to therapy. But prior to that, I'm sorry, it was mainly like the fashion, influencing, doing things in the city, doing community building. I did all the things.
Right.
You can even ask my husband, like, you were gone not gone. But when I had a break, I would work on stuff. Or I'll stay up late, like once they fall asleep. Like I'll be up, like working on stuff. And I didn't pause or like, I didn't really it got to the point where it's like, okay, if something doesn't shake, I'm gonna lose it. Like, but at the same time, I was also to the point where I had to take a realization, like, actually, you don't have to lose it if you just surrender and take a step back and do a self-evaluation and then give it to God. Like, I think sometimes we forget to self-evaluate, like, is this necessary right now? Like, yes, have responsibilities, but what is actually necessary? Like, am I avoiding help? Am I avoiding being honest? Am I avoiding having uncomfortable conversations with other people because it's going to make me feel like there's more tension coming? And it might not even be that. It might just need to be, hey, like, I'm a retired strong friend. Like, that's one thing I did after I started therapy, because I started during 2020. So literally pandemic.
Right.
So I started therapy, and
Great
then
time to start.
which was not bad, because I was,
Great time to
and that one of the conversations that got brought up in my first therapy sessions was my therapist had asked, what is something that you used to do, that you used to love, that you don't do anymore? And I was like, wow, art. And I didn't realize that I needed that as an outlet, because that was my outlet as a kid. Like, I love fashion. I love being creative. I used to do all the things when I was a kid anyway. Or in high school, I stopped painting like my senior year because my art form wasn't necessarily looked at as art.
Right.
Because I do a lot of mixed media. And then at the time, a lot of people didn't look at fashion as an art form either. So, like, mixing the two was like, that's doing too much. You need to pick one or the other. Because this is like early 2000s.
Right.
Which sounds so far, like, it's not that.
I mean, at least 20 years, you know, just to...
Anyway. But, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize artwork was my outlet. Like, when I was mad, I used to paint. When I was mad, I used to draw. When I was happy, I used to draw. I used to paint. And then, like, mixing that with expressing how I felt about my faith. Like, okay, now I'm starting over this new journey. I'm surrendering again. Like, I'm giving things back to God that weren't mine in the first place. Like, some of my responsibilities wasn't really mine. Like, some of the stuff I was worried about, I didn't have to worry about. So a lot of that has been unpacked since then.
I'm gonna double click on that.
Go ahead.
It's interesting to me. So you said a couple things there. You talked about, did you say retiring strong friendships?
Yes. So I publicly said it in 2020. It was so funny. It was so funny because the interesting thing, I actually lost a few friends after I said it. And it wasn't even anything towards them. I was like, hey, like, if you plan on calling me this year, please ask about me. Like, please ask me how I'm doing on our conversation. Like, if you call me, I'm going to listen to you. I'm still going to be a good friend. But it would be nice if the conversation was both sides.
Yeah, reciprocal.
Because like I said earlier, I am an old soul, so sometimes people always kind of... And I didn't become okay with being the auntie until I had more honesty with myself about having more, lack of a better word, boundaries. Like, hey... Like, and it's not even a real boundary. It's an ask. Like, hey, if you call me, how are you doing?
Yeah.
How have you been? Okay, I called you because I have this on my mind. Blah 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 blah. And one of the things that one of the young ladies that said to me was like, "Well, you've never said anything," and I'm like, actually, there was times that I said stuff, but it was kind of like, "Oh, well, I hope you get. That's not that bad. Like, my situation is worse," and it's like, even if it is.
Yeah.
I would still like for you to ask me, are you breathing? Because during that time after postpartum and then just battling with a lot of different things, the only people that knew that I was like really down in the dumps were my best friends. Yeah. Because it was hard for me to open up without people thinking like, oh, I can't talk to her anymore because she's about to jump off the couch.
Right.
It's too intense because if something's wrong with her, that means the world's falling apart.
Right.
And the world's falling apart by itself.
Yeah.
So... So I tell other people, I encourage other people, it's okay to retire from being a strong friend. Just be a friend. Like, show yourself friendly. And then teach yourself when to be kind, when not to be a pushover. Like, balance that out. Because sometimes people take advantage of...
I'm stealing that and telling everybody like I came up with it.
It's recorded.
Okay, you're right. It is. I can't get away from it. Yeah. And then you talked about part of that even like when you went to therapy and you started really like kind of going through the experience and they're asking you questions and whatever, you just were learning about avoiding and whether it's like, I'm avoiding this conversation, I'm avoiding this situation, I'm avoiding this person. because I'm actually just more fearful of the
Aftermath.
the whether it's a negative consequence, the action I have to take after whatever it is and stuff. None of us are perfect. None of us just figure it out. But how did you kind of have to confront that? And then now kind of how have you kind of worked through the avoidance and that stuff? Because I feel like I deal with that. I know so many people that are struggling with that sort of thing.
So during that time and even now, when I got back into my art, I would paint how I felt. Like I went not right back into it, like I eased back into it, but a lot of my first paintings during the first 2 years of the pandemic, so 2020, 2021, a lot of my paintings expressed how I felt. And then after that, I started writing. So I started doing more I used to write when I was a kid too.
Sure.
So I just came out with a book actually in December. It's called Under the Sea.
Ooh.
A church girl's mental journey back to Christ. But I actually did an art exhibit in 2022 entitled Under the Sea, and it's talking about pretty much getting beneath the surface.
Yeah.
And it highlighted how we need to unpack how we view ourselves offline, because sometimes we project how we want to feel.
Sure.
So people have a different perspective of us.
Yeah.
So I started writing, and then I started to write how I felt about influencing. I started to write how I felt about myself. I started to write how I felt about how people viewed me, to unpack those thoughts. And then that also helped me have uncomfortable conversations, because some of the stuff that I've written not necessarily generally, but it helped me unpack the fact of I need to have these conversations. Right. And it helps me be more bolder if I need to have a conversation with one specific person.
Yeah.
But during that time, I felt the need to my poems turned into a public declaration to people that didn't know me. Hey, this is how I feel about this topic. So, because sometimes when people would just say, because unfortunately sometimes people assume that they know you, so they might just say anything. Right. And it's we shouldn't do that to people if you don't have the time or the capacity to actually get to know them.
Yeah.
So during that time, I learned that. So I would highly encourage people to write how they feel, but at the same time be willing to process it. Don't just write it I stand on this. Process the fact of why did you write this?
Right.
What was your need? What were you frustrated about?
Yeah.
Because there's some poems I have not published or not released because it's just not time yet.
Yeah.
Some of them were laments. Some of them were something that I just needed to let go of. So it's okay, now that this is gone, now I've grown out of this. Now that I've been restored from this, I don't necessarily even need to address it.
Sure.
So
for the person who doesn't know, what is lament? What is that?
Lament means to it's a form of grief or a form of mourning.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's interesting. So a lament can also be, and this is my interpretation.
Sure.
I'm not going to say this is the definition because I don't care.
I'm holding you to it, but go for it.
My personal interpretation.
Yeah.
So lamenting old friendship, or lamenting not getting to the job after graduation. It's okay to process that you're really sad that this didn't work out. But also learning that you're probably going to be able to pursue something else after this. Get that thought out. I was really salty about this. I was salty I didn't graduate, but I was 21. Just stuff that I had planned.
Just
lamenting plans.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you have a lot of anticipation or expectation.
Right. Yeah.
So that would be lamenting for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I like I said before, a piece of me knew that there would be more after this. It was just for the simple fact of I really would have wanted it that.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it not.
It's the healthy practice of when your expectations aren't met, I should do this so that they don't turn to just resentment.
Exactly, because it's not having McDonald's money. But it's technically, do I even want McDonald's? I actually might want a mom and pop's restaurant. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I'm actually okay that we didn't go to McDonald's every single day.
Yeah, for sure.
Some stuff like that. It's oh, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. And it's are you okay now, though?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. There's this Billie Eilish song, and the lyrics in it are, the things I once enjoyed just keep me employed now. And you were talking about art that like came to my head. Why'd you like stop? Did it feel just like it was taking too much time?
No.
It was a wait. Like what made you?
I wanted to do it. I wanted to double major. Like, the interesting thing is, I started looking at colleges in middle school. I was very much a focused child, and if I wasn't super focused, I was because I was trying to be young. Like, oh, my friends are gonna think I'm weird if I don't not talk about college, or if I don't talk about my faith, or if I don't talk about being creative, or I was on student council. I had a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So when like different, not even guidance counselors, when different people that I did get to meet that was in my field, and I wasn't that exposed to that many people that were in fashion and in art. It was very frowned upon. Like, you need to do one or the other. You're not that good of an artist. I mean, you're like, the crazy thing is, people would say, like, some of my teachers were like, you're a great artist, but I don't know if you should pursue art.
Sure.
Like, stick to fashion. So I literally gave up on it my senior year, like my last project. And I still have actually showed at my first art exhibit because it was the last piece that I made my senior year. And I literally gave up finishing it. Like, you can tell, I showed it because you can tell that I gave up.
It was unfinished, yeah.
Because I was just over it. I was like, nobody believes this is possible, so I'm just going to give up on it. But I stopped because I felt like I didn't have the affirmation that I needed at that age to do it anyway. Like, because I was a pursuer. Like,
Sure.
I applied.
You would have found a way.
Yeah, I would have found a way. Yeah. But since it was so many things of, all this,
right.
I just was like, you know what, just forget it.
Yeah.
If it's meant for me to get back to it, I'll get back to it. When I started dating my husband, I started painting again a little bit because I was so inspired by our relationship. It was so funny. Like, oh my gosh, my fiance, he's an artist, blah, blah.
That's funny.
And then that conversation came up with some people that I was close to at the time. They were like, what are you doing? You're trying to do both now? Like, you need to finish, blah, blah, blah. Like, you went to school of fashion, like... And I gave up on it again. It was right before our wedding. I made like a few paintings for our first apartment, but then I stopped because I was like, I'll just, this isn't my thing. This is his thing. And not thinking it was our thing. Because it was like, and I knew eventually I would get back into art a little bit because just some of the programming we like dreamt to have together. But I always thought it was just going to be something that I can help. Like, like, you should do this. Like, Johnny, be an artist. Like, be an encourager.
Sure.
I didn't know that. I like to say, I didn't know that the Lord would bring it back to me. Like, hey, I put this in you. I want you to keep birthing this. And now to see, because the crazy thing is, I was also tired with fashion. So that was another reason why I was like over it. Because I was tired of everything. I wasn't making it in the fashion industry, doing what I wanted to do with the format that I had. So I was like, God, I don't understand. Nobody sees the vision, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is not New York. We had moved back to Cincinnati. I thought we were just several things.
Right.
We were interested in moving to London. But just different things happened. I got pregnant while we were married. So it's like, we should be close to family, moving, like leaving the country with a newborn. It's like, how can we like do that when it's like, let's adjust. So we've been here ever since. So it's so funny. But to see the Lord like really, I don't know. I've seen the stuff that I prayed for.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all the money, but because a lot of people are like, I've seen but now I'm mature enough to realize it's not even about the money. It's about the life that I got to see, and the journey I got to see come to fruition. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The patience that I've gained. Yeah.
We were talking, I think back at the Sela night or whatever, and you were saying that. I'm trying to word this the right way so I don't just say it wrong. But
no worries.
You were saying that being a mom, an entrepreneur, an artist, all these things, at times felt like you had to put what you thought your own kind of purpose or destiny or calling, whatever, however you want to speak about it, kind of on hold for those other things. And your perspective is kind of shifted in that way and on that kind of topic.
Yeah.
If you don't mind sharing, what do you feel like that, like, purpose calling
Yeah.
is, and how did you come to the realization that it wasn't one or the other? They might actually, like, kind of go next to each other and propel one another.
Yeah. So after my first couple of sessions with my therapist, my sister had asked me, and it was a great question, because she knew my family know how adamant I've been about just different career goals my whole life.
Yeah.
Like since third grade. I've been the lady with the laptop,
Right.
the notebook. I got like 10 notebooks as a kid, just like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Nobody's going to stop me. But it wasn't until she asked me, she was like, what do you think is purpose? And can people's purposes change? And I was like, I never thought about that. And it really resonated with me, because I was like, technically, if we have life, our purpose doesn't have to just be one thing. Like, our purposes can be seasonal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, say, for example, when a teacher retires, right? They become a librarian.
Right.
Like, they don't have to,
right,
but I'm
right.
just saying, like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean the things that they've learned in that field cannot apply somewhere else.
Sure.
So, like, they might become a therapist. Like, a teacher might be the perfect therapist,
Sure.
actually, because all the personalities they have to deal with. So, it changed my perspective, because I was like, man, like, maybe it's okay to be a mom and an entrepreneur and, you know, work a 9 to 5. Maybe it's okay to be a wife, you know, and his girlfriend. Like, don't just be a wife, but,
Sure.
like, try to, like, date while we're married. Because sometimes people, they let go of certain things after they get
100%.
married.
Yeah.
And it's tough, because it's like not knowing how to navigate that. But I think being willing to, like, address, like, hey, you know, we're not having certain conversations anymore. And then learning to do things at times that's not always climactic. Like,
Sure.
maybe if the baby's crying, I'm not going to send emails. You know, like,
Yeah.
but learning to, like, do certain things without thinking, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to get another chance to do
Sure.
it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, taking some of that control off yourself. Like, okay, even though I'm a parent and an entrepreneur right now, I know I might have to shift my entrepreneurship hours and get a job, because I'm also a parent. You know, like,
Right.
being willing to have that uncomfortable conversation with myself. Like, this means I'm gonna, and it might not be that. That might mean I just might need to change one of my services.
Sure.
Or I can't offer certain goods at certain times in my life.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, this isn't working out for the things that I need to
Sure.
do at this time. But that doesn't mean I'm any less than. Like, reminding myself, like, we make this life what it is at the same time. So it's like learning to not get intimidated about certain things. Because sometimes when people get to a certain place in their career or their aspirations or their goals, it's like, I can't come back down from
Yeah,
this, because
too much
this means
pressure.
people, it's
Yeah.
pressure. Like, people are going to look at me differently.
Yeah.
But it's like, now that we have to adult, like, what is that? What are we afraid of that being?
Yeah.
Because if those people are also not willing, that you're afraid of being judged by, are not a part of your village, their thoughts are only going to go so far.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
like what I had to realize. I'm like, if these people are not going to help me raise my kids,
Right.
you can make fun of me all you want. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because it's like, it's just navigating that, like, navigating your own expectations, navigating other people's expectations of you. Because I don't think it's bad to have expectations of other people.
Sure.
As long as they're not detrimental.
Yeah.
Like, they're not extremely toxic. Like,
Yeah.
you need to have your shoes tied before like,
Right, yeah.
but what if my shoes are not tied?
Yeah,
What if they're the zip-up shoe?
Right.
I know that was random. You can laugh.
Sure.
You didn't laugh.
I will.
It wasn't that
only
funny.
Laugh
didn't
when you
think it
learned
was
it. You know what I mean? No, just kidding.
So that was something that made me now believe it's okay that things are interchangeable.
Right.
And some things might just need to be paced, you know. Yeah. Even if they're hard. Like, learning to do hard things may be telling yourself, okay, I might paint at midnight
Sure.
for 30 minutes
Sure.
instead of scrolling. Like,
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it's one of those things, like,
Yeah.
what can I replace the time that I feel like is being taken
Mm-hmm.
with time that I can use on something that I am passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
I know I said a mouthful.
No, I love it.
Okay.
The best podcast I have is when I don't talk.
Okay.
Those are the best ones. So I'm I would say my superpower is sensitivity. So I like am very good at not just listening but responding. Then.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like taking in all of it because what I think you're saying is one, really good, and two, very relatable for, male, female, young, old, parent, non-parent, single male, whatever it is. Because at the root of it all, what you're talking about is just like managing your expectations, understanding that like, pressure is constant.
Yeah.
But the pain of that is momentary.
Yeah.
And understanding like the stakes aren't life and death always. Right? Like the baby is crying.
Yeah.
So the stakes might be just a little higher for that.
Yes.
And this email, whether it's sent at 12:03 or 6 o'clock, it'll be sent. Like it's not the end of the world, especially in a kind of time where it does feel like the end of the world. Like I need to get back. I need to do this. I need to be plugged in. I need to compromise other priorities or relationships or people for the management or to be able to maintain what I feel like I'm building or the opportunities and things I feel like I'm just this close, right? Like I feel like all the time when I'm in that place, I'm telling my wife like, oh, I feel like I'm this close. Like I feel like it's about to pop. Like all these things are working together. I'm right here for this opportunity. I'm right here for this. Like, and in actuality, when it comes down to it, what I'm expecting from her is, at the end of the day, there's a degree to which I will take priority over certain things. Yeah. And that has to be something I'm also reflecting, right? I can't give something I don't have. Yeah. And so what I hear you saying is you've just had to learn, sometimes the hard way. Some situations require things that I might not have. And so I might have to compromise certain elements or things that I want to pursue to make sure I'm still meeting the requirements or needs of my kids, my husband, myself, my mate, like those sorts of things. Yeah,
and not even just the requirements. I think I want to add to that. I think that's a great breakdown. But I think finding a way to meet those things without feeling like you're a horrible person. So, like, say, for example, like, I started using Google Calendar probably, like, a year and a half ago, like 2 years ago. Before, I was only doing, like, I will be accepting other people's Google Calendars. I didn't really use it. So I still have a paper calendar. But, like, implementing those small things of, like, okay. Or, like, with my clients, like, if somebody wants me to style them instead of make them something custom, I tell them, like, hey, if I style you and it's summer, right? So my kids they're not in camp every single day. So they haven't started camp yet. But, like, having that conversation of, like, hey, you booked me just to let you know I'm going to try to find a sitter, but if I can't find a sitter, or my kids come, you know what I mean? But, like, being realistic, not putting the pressure of myself of, like, oh, I'm going to lose this client if I can't bring my kids. Let me just be upfront. I'm like, hey, these are the things that I can do, I can't do, and these are the things that I'm willing to do, but what are things that you're willing to do if you would like to work with me or partner with me? Even the organizations that I work in, they have been so supportive. Like Cincinnati Arts Association, Black Art Speaks, like, they know that my kids 9 out of 10 are going to try to, like, they're going to be with me. And then they know I'm going to try to find a sitter, but there's been times where they're like, hey, just bring your kids to class. Like, and that's been such a blessing because I'm like, I haven't interacted with that many organizations or people who have looked at it like, hey, I'm a part of your village. Like, it's okay. Like, let me know. Maybe you can start at a different time. Maybe you can come back in the fall. Maybe we can, come back to this next year. Like, they have been upfront with me too. Like, hey, this is not a kids event. Do you think that you can come to something else? Sure. So I think navigating that and, like, taking that pressure off of not even just the kids thing. Like, if you're not good at meeting in the morning, like, find a sweet spot. Right. Like, if all the people you want to work with are morning people, like, learning to teach yourself to go to bed early, like. Yeah. It's sad to say, like, become, like, mature, like, but sometimes it takes maturity.
It's just, like, necessary.
it's just necessary to get to some of the stuff that we aspire to get in, like a better job, better pay. And then for the people, I want to say this too, for the people that are like dotting their I's and crossing their T's and still feel like they're like coming up short, I definitely recommend like taking a break and then self-evaluate. Like, okay, well, why am I still doing all these things? Like, am I doing this for accolades, or am I doing this for just to say I'm able to, like, I did it?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, unfortunately, sometimes social media has become that, too. It's like, oh, let me be able to project this. Like, this is my type of show and tell.
Sure.
People are not necessarily, there's not that many. I'm not saying it's not that many, but some people have now succumbed to projecting things that they're not actually living their own life.
Right.
So it's like the danger of, okay, I'm doing these things, now my count's down.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, it's like,
no, yeah. I mean, I always do this. I'm always like writing and stuff because I'll film like pods by myself, or I'm like trying to speak and stuff. And so I always start writing something, then I get in a conversation like this, and I just give up all the stuff for free. So,
no worries.
But I'm about to do it again. So it's to that point. It's like me and my wife were talking, and we're just talking about like we're a year into our marriage. So similar to like what you were saying, of like there's certain things like, oh, we have to keep dating, we have to keep this. Like everyone's asking us when we're gonna have kids. So we're like, when are we gonna? Like we're having all these conversations and stuff. And I was just thinking to myself and kind of talking out loud a little bit to just kind of process some of the things externally. And I'm just going like, for all these things or these areas, why am I feeling insecure about whether it's the conversation or like the action on the other end of it? And it's like, oh, maybe I'm not the man I need to be the potential father I want to be, or to be the potential husband I want to be.
That's good.
And that's
that's
really
honest.
That's really hard to like admit. And it's very emotional for me. I'm very sensitive, so I feel that then.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about like, well, how do you mold yourself into being the person you want to be? And I started thinking about this analogy of like makeup, of how, when people struggle with who they are, or they're, like you're saying, they're projecting to be something that they're not. There's makeup that they use to cover things up.
Yeah.
So they would put on makeup and they would go, I don't want people to see this, so I'll just cover it.
Yeah.
And then they have makeup that accentuates, right? So on socials or,
or even with costuming,
100%. Like in public, they would accentuate the things that are the best about them.
Yeah.
And you go, man, like they really have it together and all these things. And in actuality, that's not the case, right?
Not easy.
And then the other makeup is some people just make stuff up. Like some people just literally like in their head to be able to be okay with who they are.
And that's dangerous.
Make up like
that's delusion.
100%. Like, despite how it actually happened, despite what they actually said, the tone they used, everything, I need to make up how they said it, what I did, to be comfortable with myself and move forward. And if they were actually to be honest with themselves, they'd have to become accountable for the first time, and they might not have experience with that. And it's something that.
But it's better. I will say it's the better. The reason why I'm saying it's better, because I don't know if you know this, but so many influencers committed suicide during 2020 because they felt like, oh, the world shut down, nobody's gonna watch my channel anymore, and it's like, wow, how did we get here? So I think even though now we need accountability of like, oh, I might need to get a part-time job if my my influencing is not going to be as good, or like, maybe I should take up a hobby. I need to exercise.
Right.
Like, I might be saying the word wrong. Is it a dopamine or dopamine?
Dopamine, yeah.
Dopamine. So that same thing that's released are also released in other areas. Like, maybe I should start gaming. Maybe I should golf. Like, go to the gym. Like, so sometimes the accountability is not necessarily harmful. It feels like it's harmful because we need it. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, this is coming up against me.
Yeah, I've been on this kick recently. It's freedom.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. Yeah. Like, any person I meet who's, like, uptight and stressed and whatever, I'm like, why don't you just tell me everything that you feel like you can't put down and why? And they're like, I'm like, I don't care how you won't hurt my feeling. Like, please, like, just say it. Literally say it. I don't want to
tie my shoe.
Yeah. And they're like, I can't do it because, like, and they just go. They'll go for 5 minutes straight. And they'll either start crying or you can see the physical, like, and it's just like, I mean, I'm exhausted just hearing you say that, let alone the fact you internally are like holding that at all times.
Yeah.
why do you feel like you can't put that down?
Mm-hmm.
What about all of this stuff, like very practically, like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't do this because if I don't do that, I can't pay my mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing. My
Yeah.
husband doesn't even know how to pay the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Like all, like
Yeah.
take all the way, like take it all the way.
Yeah.
What does that say about you? And is it confirming things you already believe about yourself?
Yeah.
If you can't do these things or you don't know how or all this stuff. And have you seen the movie Sinners?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I went and saw it because everyone's talking about it, and some people are like the really Christian people are like, if you go see it, you're a horrible person, and the other people are like, this is the greatest movie in the world. I'm like, I don't know, I just went to see it, but this doesn't spoil it or anything. But when I left the theater going was like, wow, what an interesting interpretation, kind of where our culture is right now, and that we're all looking for freedom in just dramatically different ways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis, the decisions we make are the things that make us feel the most comfortable and in control of outcomes and inputs so that we can at least feel like we have a hand in the freedom we have.
Yeah.
And so many times we're actually living a more limited experience because of our need to control.
Exactly. You can't control everything.
Yeah.
And it's tough to like admit, like on an individual basis too. But then, like I said, that piece about the village, and I do believe in prayer. So I believe that someone could pray for a healthy village. Because sometimes you just might need to see somebody else.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, I'm actually out of control in this area. I don't like to grocery shop. So I do Instacart. And I'm looking like, girl, I can go grocery shop for you. You know, like, so it's like seeing that, oh, okay, this person's like, I can't. Or this person, like, I didn't start... I sound bad saying this. I'm not a chef, okay? I make sure we eat.
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
There's a difference, and it's okay.
But you can ask my husband now, like, that was one thing I prayed in December, like, okay, Lord, can you give me the motivation?
You're right, the energy at least,
to cook, like, good food, better food. Right. And I saw it come to fruition because I was like, okay, but my heart posture had to change. Like, I had to be okay with the fact of, okay, this first batch was nasty. So it was, you know, like, this is out of my control.
Yeah.
And then my daughter, we've noticed this for like the past 2 years. She started watching cooking shows. Mm-hmm. So she knows what she's talking about. But I'm like, you're a kid.
Child, yeah.
But when I started listening to her, she was like, yeah, do this teaspoon. And I was and it was funny, but that's what I say. I had to be out of control. I had to put my pride down.
Right. So this kid can tell me how to actually make some food that tastes good. Yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah,
and it was so funny. Like, some of my friends started sending me recipes because I opened up to them honestly, like, hey, I'm not really a cook, but I want to get better at this. Yeah. And that's kind of like a hobby for me now. Like, even though I'm still making some of the same meals of the recipes I received, it's a good outlet because it's like, it's bonding now with my child.
For sure.
Like, just,
for sure.
My son is now like, oh, okay, this is good. Like, he's younger than her, so he looking at me like, and her like, you guys are dating.
Kids are ruthless.
You're not even supposed to really be in here.
Yeah.
Like, so like that's releasing a sense of control, but also being honest. Like, hey, in retrospect, that wasn't that bad. Yeah. Like reading a recipe. What was time consuming about it? Right. You know, even though it is time consuming, what made me think in my mind, I couldn't do it. Yeah. What else was I doing that I felt like, well, if I do this, this is not going to benefit. So, like, things that I had to put down. So, like, maybe the time frame that I accept calls or emails. You know, like, putting that down to learn a recipe with my kid. It was just so funny because she's like, yeah, you got to throw the cheese in there. You got to throw the cheese in there like this. And just to see her and my son, like, cutting up vegetables and being a more, I'll say, modern mom. You don't hear that many people have these conversations without some type of guilt trip. Like, well, you need to be doing that all the time or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, realistically though, y'all, I'm not going to film this. I'm not, you know, like some stuff is like, because I don't have the time to do that. Yeah. I have the time to do this. I don't have the time to, you know. Yeah. Capture certain things. I did take a few pictures though because it was so funny. They were like, "This is how you cut. Like you're doing it wrong." But
you've talked a couple times now about like a village, like the people around you, the people who support you, the people who help you, the people you can like depend on. Yeah. Is that something that you've always known, had, or was that something you learned?
Both. My parents, especially my mom, she really, because at first I just didn't get it as a kid. Cause I'm like, you only have like 3 friends, but everybody would love, like people would love her. Everybody called her mom. And then sometimes it didn't hit me until my senior year in high school. And she was like, just send thank you cards to everybody that's ever like been nice to you. And I'm like, why? Like, and I did. And people sent me back gifts. Like, it was like, and honestly, it wasn't even based off of me having personal experiences with them. It was because of the way my mom, like how much they loved my mom. Like, they knew that she loved her family. So that was their way of like blessing our family by like, and all the kids, like not even just me, but like when all of us graduated from high school, like we received something. And that's when I realized like, oh, this is a village. This is not like, oh, these are my friends. This is my family. Like this is like, this was my old coworker, or I hung out with this person, or we met at the park. Like, it would be so bizarre. Like, my mom would tell me, like, yeah, I met this person at the grocery store. Like, what? Like, yeah, she gave me her. Like, because back in the 90s, we mailed letters. Like, you had phone calls, but people normally mail cards. People still do it, but it was more prominent back then.
Absolutely. So
that started teaching me how to, like, really respect people and appreciate people. Now I try to teach it with my kids. Like, so if my kids don't mail cards, they'll send like voice memos. Or like the give emojis to like my friends. Like, hey auntie, like, hey uncle, blah blah blah. And then with the village, also navigating like not over like using them too, like letting them know that I appreciate them. So I do ask for help, but sometimes I don't, just because I'm like, they have their own set of responsibilities, lives, jobs. So navigating that, and then just being willing to be like, appreciate them publicly too. Like, I love y'all. Like, that's another thing too. Like, don't take your village for granted. Even if it's just like 6 people, even if it's just 2 people. Sometimes people feel like, well, I don't have enough, bump them. Or I have too many, I'm tired of this. When it's like, some people might not have anybody. Or they don't know how to start a village. So they don't try. So yeah. That's what I would like. Did I answer the question?
You did.
Okay, because I'm like,
you're an interesting person.
Oh,
I just like listening to you talk.
Thank you.
I'm like, me and Sarah are selfish. I'm like, we just want to be your guys' friends now.
Oh,
That's
you
all.
can.
Yeah, for sure.
But you can't come if you don't laugh at our jokes. So, I'm just kidding. Ooh, see, it's okay.
It's fine.
No,
it's fine.
You're one of those people that
it's
don't
bad.
laugh
No, it's
on
bad.
purpose.
It's bad. Well, and the problem is, I'll be honest with you. Here's the problem.
On purpose.
I sit around writing jokes.
Okay.
I've been around comedians, so I'm like, there's a way.
I'm gonna retire and be one.
There you go. There's a way. And I don't want to reward dad jokes. I don't want to reward the dry humor. Like, you just waited the silence.
Have transcended generations. Dad jokes and mom jokes make up jokes. That's why they have jokes, because of moms and dads.
I guess we got more serious things to talk about than this. No, I'm just joking. I really have enjoyed talking to you, seriously. And I think this has been a really interesting conversation. Awesome. I got a couple questions left. Okay. And we'll finish up
and here. And I'm going to have shorter responses.
You can listen. Okay. I'm sitting here no matter what. So it's fine. But one of my last few questions here is, so my podcast, there are people who believe in Jesus, don't. Okay. We still just kind of talk about the same kind of guiding like principles and things like that. We met actually in a specifically spiritual context. If you can remember back to that winter night, just because I want to feel built up.
Okay. I can't.
When you were at that night, what did you think of like the experience of like being in the space and everything? And then when you met me and my wife, what were your thoughts? What were you thinking? You're like, this guy needs to stop. How did you meet us and interpret that sort of thing?
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
I'm laughing that you don't have humility. And so the interesting thing is, my friend had invited me to that night. It was like a worship night inside of a bookstore, which I thought was super cool. Yeah. I'll add this really fast. When I was growing up here in Cincinnati, we had a lot of like faith-based outlets. So we had the Underground, we had the Rock Cafe, we had the Gospel Grill. Like there would be concerts here, like sheds. There would be poetry nights. It would be like all the things back in the like
a lot of outlets.
A lot of outlets, late 90s, early 2000s. So a lot of that stuff literally closed down probably by 2016. So a lot of people didn't get that exposure. They don't have those memories.
Yeah,
So when I got to come to that event, I was like, man, I feel like a kid again. Like this was super cool because there was a rapper that night, and then you spoke, I believe, after the rapper. But when I heard you speak, I was like, I thought, because my husband in college, he was in a group called Square, and it was really cool because, well, people thought they were corny, but people thought they were so cool at the same time. It was so funny. I was like, petty. But they would go to different locations in the city of Toledo, Miami. They would travel, honestly, like all around the tri-state area, and they would shed. So they had a singer, they had a lead guitar player. One of the guys were rappers, and my husband would paint live. So when I heard you speak, and sometimes they will offer Christ ads, but they used to like perform at clubs, bookstores, warehouse, like all the things, all types of avenues, areas. They even performed at a bar, but they would offer Christ. And so when I heard you speak, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like he would have hung out with them in college, even though. Funny. And then, but I didn't like when you talked about 30-year-olds.
I knew you were gonna say that. That's why I said it. Yeah. That's a real joke, by the way.
It wasn't funny.
Everyone laughed.
Until you became... Nobody
Everyone
laughed.
Locked in.
It was like the three
people
that...
Here. I got heckled preaching, which just shouldn't happen, but it's a good sign. Because that's how you know people are listening. Okay. So to me, I'm going, I got them.
I'll let you have that.
I got them. They're right here. I got them. They're listening.
But then you dropped them.
Exactly. No, I had them. Start heckling.
They're like, these.
So it's never good. It's presenting anything. They're like, read the room. Like it's not. That's not a good moment, but
it's okay. You know,
I took it.
I did side a little bit. I was like, but I'm gonna listen.
Exactly.
I'm here. I'm not gonna leave. I already paid for parking.
Exactly.
But
That's crazy.
I really enjoy what you shared because I can't remember everything you said, to be honest, because it was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that stood out to me was the fact of you were being willing, the place that you were then, I'm not saying that you're at the same place now, but you had expressed that your willingness to be open to change had changed a lot. And I appreciate that because, for one, you're younger than me. So sometimes people don't have certain realizations until they're like 40, 50 years old.
Yeah.
So for you to have that realization, especially when you opened up about you guys being newly married, I thought that was great because I'm like, he's self-aware at a great time. Like sometimes people don't get self-aware until they have a mental breakdown.
For sure.
Or like, oh, I'm midlife crisis, blah, blah, blah. And some things can be induced because of certain situations, but I appreciated that you literally unpacked that with the room full of people that you didn't know.
Yeah.
So, and then I found out you guys were married on the same date that we were.
It's
so I was
crazy,
like, I want to meet them.
Yeah,
and I wanted to meet your wife too because you expressed that she was a couple years older than you. So I wanted to meet her too because I thought that was awesome that you guys didn't let certain things cause you guys not to be together.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've expressed that to some of my friends, like, it's okay to date younger if they're mature. Like, just simple stuff.
For sure.
But I just thought it was really cool when I met y'all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And I mean, to your point about like, those spaces existing and not and everything, like, I don't know any of that stuff. Like I wasn't a part of that sort of thing because of my age and stuff. And so I think there's like very much I'll speak for myself at least, a desire and a want to create more atmospheric spaces, right? And this idea of like, some people are interested in creating like moments, right? One moment for 1,000 people. And the faith we subscribe to, I believe if you create an atmosphere, 1,000 people will have 1,000 different moments and they'll all be impactful, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't need to leave the space going, oh, I connected with this part, but I didn't really like that part.
Yeah, like learning to not critique.
Yeah. And moments can be susceptible to that, right?
Yeah.
Because we have different tastes.
Yeah.
We have different problems, different proclivities, those sorts of things. Versus, hey, this is a space. It's an atmosphere. And if you enter into it, I'm believing like you're going to be interacted with.
Yeah.
And mutual friend Monet. She's like a part of that one specifically, and it's been really fun to see that grow. What advice would you give, having seen that sort of stuff and maybe some different things here, to the prioritization and like fighting for spaces like that and the importance of that? What would be your kind of appeal to someone like me, Monet, like people in our city, and anyone who's anywhere, about like fighting for space for people to get like impacted and have spiritual experiences outside of just organized churches, organized conferences, that sort of stuff?
That's a great question. It's a big question too, but it's a great question. I think in the context of fighting, it might not even necessarily be a fight. It might be playing offense, like fighting offense, like looking at it on a bigger scale. Like, hey, if I would love for this to have a retrospect impact on multiple people or multiple groups of people, what can I see in myself that might hinder that?
Sure.
So, like, say, for example, me not being willing to talk to someone, or like, oh, they don't look like my type of person, or, oh, I don't like their voice, or like when you guys said the comment about sometimes people give and take, or they might like, oh, I really don't like this piece. Like, learning to actually stop doing that, because I feel like that might be why there's so many different types of things, because sometimes we overcompensate to provoke something to happen, when it's like sometimes we don't have to overcompensate anyway.
Right.
Sometimes it just be like, hey, let's be like, back in the day, people used to just go to the park and sit. That would be it. There would be one playground, a random trash can. There was no dog trash can. You know, like, now I'm not saying that we don't need those extra accoutrements. So now we have like matching seating areas, and now there's outdoor couches that get vacuumed once a week. But it's like, do we actually need that to enjoy outside? So like, if we want to create certain spaces or like experiences, learning, like, set an atmosphere, like, you know, make sure people feel welcome, but make sure that the mindset that you have before you get there is not going to contribute to the downfall of those atmospheres. Like, oh, am I going to see a friend? Or, I don't know, I don't like meeting new people. Like, okay, invite a friend. Like, if you know you're that person that don't like people, bring somebody that's going to help you meet new people that you may like.
100%. Yeah, like, social anxiety is like such a real thing.
It is.
And
it's
big crowds, and it's a real thing. And just say you don't want to come.
Yeah.
Just say that. Don't.
But if he's the one wants to come.
Exactly. So either you got to, like, I'm a big person, like, I'm introverted, all the things, and I struggle with small talk. My wife is the opposite. And so whether I want to or not, find myself in situations like, here we are. Like,
and you might not even need a small talk.
Exactly.
You might just need to, like, give people know. So I'm working on this too. So when I'm speaking, sometimes I don't give eye contact. It's not because I don't want to. It's for the fact of, in order for me to talk and think about what the person's saying, I might not look directly at them. But if I'm in public settings, I do practice like eye contact, because people don't receive it as much anymore.
Right, correct.
So it's like, especially with like working with some of my students, I tell them, like, I need you to give me eye contact. I tell our kids, give people eye contact when you're talking to them, because it just helps them like get to know your body language better, even if it's for a short period of time. Like I said about like your mindset is going to help with cultivating certain experiences, and then also like your willingness to come back even if that one experience wasn't climactic. Like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I'm never going again. But it's like, we don't do that for non-safe environments. Like, what I mean, like, I'm not saying non-safe, but it's like we risk going other places because it's like we don't know what's going to happen. You know, and then we go to new places or new environments and be like, I'm never going to this again. But why? So asking yourself, like, okay, am I willing to try something new? Even if people might see me and be like, oh, like, it's kind of like, it makes you think about those 90s movies where it's like, so-and-so sitting at that one table. And it's like, what if they really need help with their homework? And this person is a whole genius because their glasses have tape on it. You don't want to talk to them. Like, when it's like, this person has got a 5.0. Like, I need this person to graduate. And then I become their friend. You know, like, it makes you think about that. Like, Well, what am I being that childish person in the cafeteria, or am I the person that's like going to go to different tables?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to eat at them all at the same time. Like, be willing to just try.
Yeah, for sure.
And not overthink whether or not you're going to lose your cool points, as the grandmothers say, because I'm older.
There you go.
You didn't laugh.
I half did.
You said
You're gonna.
you
This
said,
is gonna be an uphill battle. I can already tell.
You say there you go. That's not aha.
I'm a podcast host.
Okay.
And you guys keep it moving. You know.
Okay.
You're gonna keep trying though. I know that, and so I'm gonna save you the embarrassment now, and let you know that you'll get me to laugh.
You're gonna laugh at the replay. You're gonna be laughing the whole time, and I am going to enjoy it.
It's just different, anyway. To finish this,
thank you.
I'm gonna say this. One, it's been really fun talking to you. Seriously,
awesome.
I really enjoyed everything you shared. I think it's gonna be really helpful to people. The floor is yours. This is the last thing people are gonna hear. It is 2025. It's June. I don't know what day it's gonna come out, but we're in this moment right now.
Okay.
You're living your life right now. You got kids. You got business.
Am I living my life?
I don't know.
Okay.
You might tell me different in a moment here.
Okay.
You're formulating thoughts. You're communicating things. If you had one thing to say, that whether you've learned it, you're working through it, whatever, floor is yours. What would you say to people that close our podcast today?
Live under the sea. Like, be willing to unpack things with yourself. Don't live in self-deception. Don't live in self-delusion, because you may be holding yourself back on who you really need to be. And then be okay with tough times. Not okay like you can't cry. Like, sometimes people lie, like, I'm fine. I'm like, blah, blah. Like, it's like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
Your glasses are crooked. Like, you feel like somebody slapped you side of your head. But, like, be in that moment, but don't stay there. And then write out ways. I like to write, because sometimes I feel like writing just helps.
Yeah.
Write out ways that you feel like will help you process what's happening in your life right now. Don't rush to vent. Don't be quick to speak, because sometimes we speak too soon, especially over our own situations. And my mom likes to say, do something for you. So that means get you if you can't get a whole scoop of ice cream, get you a half a cup of ice cream, and then freeze the other half so you don't feel bad when you want the other half at another time.
There you go.
And that he's trying to stop me. And my last point is, I don't have any other points other than those.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been In Need of Attention. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.